This is the Energizing India podcast.
Welcome to the Energizing India podcast. The Indian EV and energy transition sector has been in flux for the last 3 years. If you looked at it just 3 years ago, there was a few thousand vehicles on the road. And in that time today, we've got hundreds of thousands of electric two-wheelers, many thousands of three-wheelers, and thousands of new electric buses coming on the road every year. Tata themselves are targeting 150,000 electric cars this year, so the numbers are boggling. Today on the show, we talk to Uday Narang, CEO of Omega Seiki Mobility, one of the big protagonists of the electric vehicle sector in India, changing the way both public and goods transportation is taking place in this country, but beyond this country, also around the world. Uday, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ravan. Great to be here, and it's been quite some while. They say ghar wapsi, so I feel home here, and it's such a great energy at this campus. I'm really blessed to know you and your team, and especially your Nari Shakti. So thank you for inviting me here.
Very kind words, Uday. You know, I track you online, Uday, on Insta, on LinkedIn, on all of your social platforms. And I have to say, just watching you leaves me breathless because you are everywhere, whether it's the US or Europe or here, and even within India, you're in the most remote rural parts of India, making a change with your three-wheelers and your four-wheeler goods carriers. How do you do it?
I think, Ravan, I told you when I came back to India, or I would say Asia about a decade ago, I'm driven with making a brighter future for this country. I know it's election night tonight and we're going to have a result, but I think what's most important is we talk about India first. And for me, this younger generation, that 1.4 billion population, we need to give them a better and a cleaner and a greener country. The environment, water, all of this matters to me. And this is what gives me energy. The people, when I go down to rural India, when I go down to the streets, when I spend nights at the hubs, when I work with the drivers, when I work with people in the passenger vehicles who come with their life saving to buy a vehicle, when I see the mother and the daughter and the wife, it just gives me goosebumps. It tells me, that, you know what, I need to dedicate my life to make this country specifically, but also the world a better place.
So Uday, your company, OSM, is designing, manufacturing a electric three-wheeler transport for passengers as well as goods. You've got a 1-ton ute, a pickup truck, and then you've got also the larger format trucks that are going to be launched. Quite a lot to be done in a very short amount of time. We've driven your 1-ton truck, one of the best driving experiences we've had. We've seen your pink rickshaw that you launched recently. From the last time that you were on the show, which was about 2.5 years ago to today, what has changed in the Indian EV sector?
Look, a lot has changed and a lot has not changed. We put about 14,000 vehicles since, in the last 2 years since we met you. I think what has changed is people have accepted green energies. People have accepted EV, and not just EV. There are, using alternate fuels and making, our commercial and passenger three-wheelers and four-wheelers need to be electric or whatever we want to use. But I think we need to move off ICE. We also need to move off CNG. It has developed new products, new powertrains, new vehicles, new designs. You are seeing a market where it's thriving. You're getting technology come and play a more and more role in this space. We have seen alliances globally. We are seeing now where electric was considered an afterthought. When somebody in Pune said he was going to have somebody for breakfast, and that same person has come in and said electric is important. You know what? I love it. All the big boys and girls are in the game. It tells me that the future is greener and cleaner. And I think that, more and more younger generation of our country says this is something that is the need of the hour. We are seeing the ecosystem build. It needs more, faster pace. But in India, everything needs more faster pace. But I think we've come a long way. We need to go a long way. We are seeing combination of multiple batteries, powertrains, motors, charging, which was an issue. That has been so much improvement. Chargers are going to tier 2, 3, 4 cities. Some of your good friends are in this business who are doing significant, work. I would say, you at 𝐂𝐻𝐻 are doing so much in this space. I love to see this ecosystem build. And I think, अभी तो ये ट्रेलर है, मूवी का बहुत सारा आना बाकी है. I think this is something that I would like, a lot more work. The election had put a lot of the fame and a lot of this government process at a grind. I'm hoping in the next 4 months, the speed picks up, and this year we actually get more and more work done and make more vehicles, more charging, more activity towards the tier 2, 3, 4 cities.
So I'm going to build the cat then, Uday, a little bit. From my perspective, what's changed from 2.5 years ago to today is that consolidation phase of the industry started. So there was a lot of bubbling activity 2.5 years ago, lots of electric two-wheelers, many people trying to make three-wheelers, and many of them have gone by the wayside. It was the same with the charging infrastructure as well, right? There was lots of startups and many have gone by the wayside as you see consolidation. Money starts to chase success, and the companies that have broken through are getting much more funding, and the ones that haven't are not really going anywhere. Do you see this consolidation as a good thing? Or, is what's happening in China really the model? And the Chinese model is over 200 companies making electric scooters and another 40 or 50 making last mile delivery vehicles. India, on the other hand, always has had 2.5 of everything. 2.5 airlines, 2.5 car companies, 2.5 of everything. So do you see consolidation as being a good thing for the smaller market size we are? Or would you rather see this bubbling of activity for another few years?
Look, I think that too many players came into the game, and I'll tell you what it was. I think the flow of money. They say a rising tide lifts all boats. So I think too many people came in who do not understand automotive, do not understand technology, and they've just said, okay, I'll make a prototype and I'll do a series A, B, C, and then just sort of move on. I think scale. One thing I have learned, and I think this is you talk about consolidation. Consolidation is heavily happening. If you look at the top 4 or 5 on the two-wheelers, and if you see the top 4 or 5 in the three-wheelers, and this will happen the same thing in the trucks, I think you're going to see 5 to 6 players. That does not mean new startups will not get an opportunity, but I'll tell every startup, work on longer term, work on quality, work on scale. Don't just be focused on picking up money and just not following through. I think consolidation is the need of the hour, specifically in the two-wheelers. I will also say three-wheelers, the consolidation is happening, and this will, in the truck space, there's only a handful of players anyway. I do think that, as we go along, I say to everyone, there is no barriers to entry into this space, but there is no exit. Because if you're not playing it right, you're going to just burn all your money and you're going to burn investors' money. So I think, in India right now, from what I see, I think you're going to need anybody who has just come in and not achieved scale. They're either burning a lot of money, and I'll say to everyone out there, if you're not EBITDA and PAT positive, you can do these rounds, but long term, you're not going to survive. As one of my very good Sindhi friends says, that you've got to make money. And Ravan-san, I think this consolidation is going to force people to make money. And if you don't make money, I don't think this will work. Consolidation will help stronger companies. I think technology alliances will happen. I've built OSM only on alliances. I would have never achieved all what we have achieved without alliances. And I want to tell you one thing. I want you to go back and look at everything I talked about, and every part of it I have achieved. The trucks, I had to go back to the drawing board because there was no FAME subsidy. But I will tell you, this market is going to keep consolidating. I think it's already happening. But new ideas, new technologies are always going to be. And I am working with about 4 or 5 different startups, some that you know very well, some that have come to your events in December, which are just superb, and some that have come to me directly. And so, I think India is going through a phase where, new players, technology are welcome. But I will always say, please think for the long term and please take some time with your product. This is not a 𝐿𝐻 thing, but look at 𝐿𝐻. You have built it over a period of time. You could have done it 10 times faster. So I at OSM learn from people like yourself who've been in business a long term and understand. And so I think, but to answer your question, consolidation is here to stay. And I think it is not so easy now to come in because the capital required is humongous, which all of us know that if you want to get that scale, you need the capital.
Absolutely. So a couple of directions I want to take this conversation. One is the global opportunity for Indian products. But before that, one of the things that has also changed over the last 2.5 years, I think, is the profile of the customer. Previously, there were individual entrepreneurs who were making investments in a vehicle that was going to be their funding source, or their revenue source for the month. Now what you're seeing is asset management come in, big funds that are actually going to be asset managers of the fleet as well as of the charging infrastructure, and then they earn revenue per kilometer. Does that impact your own distribution, go-to-market sales strategy? Are you seeing that impacting market power, so to speak?
I think as we say in England, different horses for different courses. I am seeing this actually an enhancement. It's like artificial intelligence. Does it hurt you or does it help you? It helps you. It helps you develop new models. But one thing I would tell you, and this is something, even Ola realized, that you couldn't just sell Olas on their website, right? They had to go to the customers. So I think asset managers are helping bring vehicles, bring technology, bring EVs into areas that was never part of the ecosystem. But I also think that individual customers, my strategy is very clear. There are 750 districts in this country. I want to be touching every one of those districts. Because if I want to be a big boy or a girl, then I need to make sure that the retail, because at the end of the day, that retail customer is your bread and butter over a long 5 to 10 year or 20-year timeline. But I think, I am okay. I think this has only increased volume. I think it has made all OEMs better quality, better service. And I think, this will help. I would tell you, charging network. I work with swap companies, right? The biggest problem is there are not enough swap stations, right? So I think this ecosystem building with asset management, with retail will always be king, in my view. I think that is where you continuously, I want OSM to have almost 70 to 75% at retail level, and then the asset. But if those deals come, we'll always be part of it. But I think your bread and butter has to be retail. Now, there will be new models in different places, different states. You've seen in the election, different parts of this country vote differently, think differently. It is such a complicated country. Me and you also, had our years in US, Europe, Australia. This country is so, somebody wants a kurta, somebody wants a sherwani, somebody wants a pajama, somebody wants like a pant. Everybody needs something else. And I think from where I am, I want to be able to do this. I'll give you a product, but I'm able to change it according to your needs. And so I think asset management companies are going to help, but I'm also saying do not forget retail, because that is where, where you're going to be having a long-term sustainability.
In some ways, my experience has been that what China is good at is cookie cutters, standardized products that they can do 1,000 of a day. And what India is super good at is extreme customization, making that one-off or making small lots of very customized products, and that's exactly what you're talking about. Let's talk about the global opportunity for innovations that are coming out of India, because the stuff you're doing is actually innovative in a way that is beneficial to India, but then has these big markets, for example, in Indonesia, Philippines, perhaps in Kenya, Nigeria, sub-Saharan Africa. Are you already looking global? What is the opportunity for innovative Indian products such as yours, or set of products such as yours for the globe?
Very much spot on. I have said 24-25 is where we're going to start exporting. And 25-26, 30% of my volume has to be export. We have been testing in Indonesia, in Vietnam, in Philippines on the passenger. I'll be happy to say I'm going to Kenya very shortly. We are going to be in Tanzania. I am going to do something very shortly in the Middle East to set up for Africa. We are set up in Bangladesh. I've just decided to buy out that whole company. We had a local partner. I'm going to buy it out because I think Bangladesh is a great market. See, all the products that we are developing, that can be used in any part of the world. You find it funny in Lima, in Peru, in Colombia, in Venezuela. I am testing products. Look, it takes time, but I will tell you that the time, I've just built products with higher gradient, higher range, different type of, load carrying capacities. So the innovation that is happening in this country, I think we could take it globally. I see your charges in the UAE. I just saw you were in Thailand. Similar. Look, I think, act local, but definitely think global. I'll talk in reverse. I think we're definitely using OSM is definitely going to be in this next 2 years in the global markets. I think we'll be opening doors where Indian products can do more across ASEAN. And I think, like you said, the Chinese are volume and we can do cookie cutters. And I think there's room for that. And I think we're building products very much for different countries. Africa is a very big part for me. And the two countries you mentioned, Philippines and Indonesia, yeah, very, very much on my radar. Products are being tested and continually changed. One thing I've learned in these countries, build a product that, some of the incumbents are there in Africa for a long time. And if you want to give a product, you've got to make sure you can stand by the product. But I'll tell you where there can be interesting things. On the charging side, if you bring that charging infrastructure and if you build that ecosystem, but it'll take, country by country. So we'll pick up certain. Africa is a very big continent. We'll pick certain parts of Africa. We'll start hitting it. And it is something that Africa is on my radar for a long time. And so is the two countries you mentioned.
Excellent. So let's then talk about some of the innovations that you're bringing in as well. One of the companies that is incredibly innovative in the battery space and has been on our podcast twice, Xponent, is working with you to provide a very fast charge to your customers. So you're using a different, battery pack in a closed loop system. How is that working out for you, and how do you see that impacting your global strategy? So are you actually going to have two kinds of products? One is with an Xponent battery pack that's super fast charge, and then one is more conventional with the CCS2 methodology that can be in areas where Xponent's not.
I think you're absolutely. Xponent is superb company. OSM has always worked with new, innovative technology. Arun-san brings years of experience from Aether, and he is somebody who it's not just Arun, the whole team at Xponent is fantastic. We have worked with them over 2.5, 3 years. It is something that, I am proud of, that how closely we have worked. Xponent is something that, we have been working on. The slogan this year, again, I'm saying it's an election night, so I'm using some of that. There was a slogan of "Is baar 400 par." Unfortunately, it's not happening, but I can guarantee you, har bar, every time 400 par Uday Narang karke dikhayega with Xponent, meaning 400 kilometers on that passenger vehicle, in our cargo, in Stream City Quick with Xponent technology and with Rage Plus Quick on the cargo, will give you in a day 15 in the morning, 15 in the afternoon, 15 in the evening. 15. It's like a New York City cab. We're going to run it 24 hours. They've got that technology. And you know what I like about Xponent? We talked about Delhi and Bangalore. We're going to hit those, and then we're going to take it across the nation. I think, what's important is to get customers that satisfaction. I'll tell you, if you give 15 minutes charging, then it changes the whole ballgame. Now, I think CCS2, the fixed battery and others options are going to be there because the charging infrastructure is not there today. I'll tell you what, you put all that infrastructure with the, you guys figure it out, and I will bring vehicles across. I will make sure that every part of the country has Xponent. Arun tells me after having Xponent, I shouldn't be buying any other battery. I keep telling him, we'll put it together. Let's put Delhi and Bangalore. Let's put the volume. Somebody who I believe is all of you investors out there. He's a guy that I think you really got to invest with. He's got great technology, great people. And OSM, I'm betting big with him.
Well, I think we agree with you. Exponent is one of the benchmarks for us as well at 𝐿𝐻. And we do think that they are the smartest people in the business, and we're eagerly waiting for their IPO so we can invest and make some money too.
Right.
Beyond Exponent, though, you're playing around with other technology. We've seen your hydrogen rickshaw in France with the fuel cell on the roof. Quite impressive. Nobody's thinking of hydrogen for rickshaws because, typically hydrogen is thought of as when you're going long, when you're going big. So, it's good for trains, it's good for planes, it's good for taxis because you've got, ultra long range. Rickshaws typically do shorter runs where swapping or an Exponent kind of fast charge works. Why did you go down the hydrogen route?
Well, I learned from you. Whatever they say can be done, I'm going to do. H2X, we've got a joint venture with a group of 20 young French engineers. I own 50%, they own 50%. And I think we have proved, in Le Mans, in June, in very shortly, you're going to see 950 kilometers on a tank done over 2 days, non-stop on a three-wheeler. The idea is not about the three-wheeler. The idea is we've got the technology. We can do it on the one-ton trucks. But I'll tell you what, even on the TCO model, it shows, it recharges the battery. So over a lifespan of 5 years, the vehicle, even today, makes sense. Now, we're going to be bringing it back to India. We're going to put a few test pilots of 50 odd. We are working something in Karnataka. We would love to bring it to Delhi and bring that pilot. We'll bring that hydrogen charging infrastructure with people, with our investments. And I think you'll see it change a lot. Now, we continually as an OEM work on new things. This is something very exciting. I think there are much more developments that will happen. The key is the 3, and then it's the 1-ton truck and the 3.5-ton truck. So, this is something that is from day one making sense on the TCO model. More to be seen. I've leaked out something my PR team is going to be bad, not upset. We're going to be upset about, but I think it's something that I'm very proud of. You will see it very shortly in the next 10 days, and we're going to prove it to the world. We're going to make a world record. And I think what's proud of it, again, the idea was in India. We worked with a group of people in France. We made it. We've already executed it. I've already seen it. And today, my team and a group of people are going to showcase. Le Mans is the biggest show on this planet in Europe, and we'll be OSM and an Indian brand will be showcasing out there in front of all of these people.
Excellent. Can't wait to see it and to drive it when it comes to India.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about technology then, Uday. Where do you see the evolution of the clean mobility sector over the next 1,000 days, particularly 3 years? So in 2024, we've got 25, 26, 27 coming. When we talked about this 2.5 years ago, it was about battery chemistries. It was about, is sodium ion going to come? Now you've moved beyond that, you're on hydrogen. What are you going to see? What are we going to see in the next 1,000 days?
Look, I think you're going to see, I would like charging, more innovative charging infrastructure being built. Because I'll tell you, seriously, even today, they've got charging infrastructure at the wrong places. They've got to have, the power requirements, to set up scale of charging. Fast charging, we can't put everywhere, right, in this country. I think we've got to develop technology that makes charging, because the vehicles will continually come up with new battery technology, with new powertrains, but we need the juice. Without the juice, it makes no sense. And the juice at a price. What we have noticed is if the price of charging is even 50 paisa or 1 rupee higher, this country is very price sensitive. They look for a better. So I think, we're going to see, all sorts of better technology on powertrains, motors, charging infrastructure is something that I'm really, really hoping. Financing has to be something that is much more developed. You talked about asset managers and new development coming in. But in terms of technology, there is so many new things going on, with onboard chargers, with efficient, great, motors. And again, I think battery tech continually improves. There's 5-minute fast charging coming up. There's 2-minute fast charging coming up. So there's a whole lot of development. Battery prices are coming down, which is very good. I think even overall vehicle prices are coming down. And I think that, whether it's hydrogen, whether it is, EV, whether it is a combination of hybrid model. If you go to the Japanese, they only want to talk hybrid. I think there's a school of thought even in the United States that is saying that there should be hydrogen, should be a hybrid. So I think, there's continuous, every day there's something new technology comes up. I just live for it. I think in the 1,000 days from now, and maybe that's when I'm seeing you, I'm hoping that, you are definitely public, but I would say that, we are bringing products that are more, ranges are not an issue. Charging is not an issue. Load capability is not an issue. But biggest of all, safer products. Because one life lost is too many. And that could be your sister, it could be my mother, it could be anybody. And I would say one thing, let's use technology, but make it safe. And I think, quality and service has to be very big. And I think there's somewhere here where we need to make sure in terms of safety and service is there. And I think that's something which I would hope so.
So do you think that the vehicles that are being put out in 2024 are in fact safer than what was being put out in 2022? What have you guys done on your journey to, there was a lot of talk of fires 2 years ago that seems to have died down now. So clearly there has been an amelioration in the industry as well as the tech. Are you seeing that as well?
I would say absolutely. And I want to I know we all complain about the government, but I would tell you the enforcement by the Department of Heavy Industries, and especially, with our agencies like ICAD and ARAI, man, they are making sure that the testing is done. Touch wood, we've had not one incident in our 5 years on any battery, and we really, really work hard on aligning forces. We spend a lot of time with Exponent, specifically on this, and all the other partners. But for me, we continually look back. We built vehicles. We made sure that the chassis, we made sure that the powertrain, we made sure the brakes, we made sure the lighting, we made sure the visibility. Continuous. This is a continuous development. Right? Our riders, and in the passenger side, I want to give more comfort. I want to make sure there's more, if there's air conditioning and heating, I want to make sure that products that we put out are required and gives that utmost safety and confidence that a driver or somebody's family, because these are vehicles that are, people use on a day-to-day basis. So OSM is a continuous development. We've made some mistakes. We've gone back to the drawing board. I went back to our powertrain players. I went back to the battery players. I went back to every part players to make sure that we build a better. And I'm telling you, in December, I'm completely revamping our product, new design, new product, new load capabilities, safer. So it's a continuous investment and it's a continuous development. This is a marathon, not a sprint. This is something that, we want to be building over the next 20, 25 years.
So, Uday, I'm going to ask you a silly question, but it's always been on my mind when I see a rickshaw. Why is it that every rickshaw in India looks the same? Why isn't there innovation to make it cuter, sexier, safer, better?
Come December, in Pune, I will bring it to you and it'll be completely different. And I think you're absolutely right. I'll tell you why. The investment by the incumbents was like, for the last 100 years, it was just the last 50 years, it was selling. They didn't want to change. Why put money, that thing of why fix it if it ain't broke? But I think you're absolutely right. And I'm going to give you a promise. In December, I'm going to bring my cargo and passenger three-wheeler, and you are going to be the first one, you and your team, and that man Onkar that you got on all these podcasts out there. I'll put it out there, and you tell me whether this is changed or not. It is my number one agenda. The product is, I can leave you something, is being developed in Pune by a very, very major player, and in December, or maybe earlier, I'm going to bring it to you.
Excellent. So 3 years from today, Uday, what is the mix of your products? Are you seeing the bigger electric trucks going to be a larger part of your portfolio? Is it going to be the 1-ton last mile delivery, or is it really always going to be the rickshaw story?
I'm in love with trucks, and you are like, you've got this charging and charging infrastructure, and you build these great machines. For me, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐭, as I told you, is my son's name. My daughter gets upset. I have to get some vehicle in her name. But I was going to say, yes, OSM will always do three-wheelers, but it'll be in the LCV, and then obviously, as I go to the 3.5 ton and bigger trucks, I want to be definitely part of the truck ecosystem. It is the need of the hour. I will tell you, I was talking trucks when nobody was talking trucks, and now it's more and more out there. I've seen some great, products out there. You see a great product here in Pune. I see, competition is good. 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐭 is out here that is building products, and we've got Switch and we've got Tata. I think trucks is something that OSM will continually work on and make. And I think there are drones with EVs is something that I'm working on for the agriculture field, for garbage, for many, many things. I have my drone company, which is called 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐭. It is integrating products as we speak, and it'll be out there this year in large volumes.
Excellent. So, Uday, as an entrepreneur in a sector that is moving very quickly, and you're one of the main protagonists that's pushing that sector, what keeps you awake at night?
What keeps me awake at night is that my products are safe. For me, that's the most important thing. I can use technology. We were testing Exponent for 2.5 years. Arun and his team we could have brought it to the market faster. He didn't. And I think what keeps me up at night is there something more I should be doing to make our products safer? And the second, how much service can I give? Because the products that I'm in, people depend their livelihoods, whether it's a 3-wheeler or a truck, 1-ton truck or 3, that 500 or 1,000 rupees serves them, their daily bread, their children's education, their electric, their healthcare. So, making sure that while I'm using technology, while I'm keeping the pace, the products are safe and I'm giving service. And that is the two things. If you give good product and you give good service, I think you're going to build a product. It's for everything. I think it's, you build it with your chargers, you do everything. I think you have to continually innovate. You have to work with technology, but those two are most important. If you keep that, I think the Indian customer is price sensitive, but they will pay you more if you do that. And today, the consumer is very smart. And I'll tell you what, today, the election has shown that if you don't care about your customer, if you don't care about your consumer, they'll kick you out. And I think this is a lesson for all of us, no matter how big we are and how, bold we are. If we don't look after the customer, I think you're just basically game over.
Fair call. And as an entrepreneur, what frustrates you now? And has that changed from 3 years ago? Is it, well, I'll let you answer that and then I'll feed you what I think would have been frustrating you.
Sure. Look, the gray hairs, I keep my hair short. I got enough gray hairs enough now. I think what frustrates me is, and again, we're having a very bold conversation, is I want the government to have a stable policy. What has happened is, if a few people blow the light, doesn't mean all of us are bad. And what happened here with fame and a lot of things, I think things just slowed down. And we were on a fast track and nobody was going to make a decision. And it dragged on and on and on. And I think when you make investments as businessmen, you want, you've invested in Australia, you've invested in the United States, you've invested in India, you've invested all over the place. And you've got decades of that. And same here with our family. We want a business that has a clear government policy. And this continuous dilly-dallying and changing ideas, today we're going to do this, tomorrow, is not good for business. The Europeans, the Americans are clearly showing, the Japanese, the Koreans are showing that. So it frustrates me, but this is India. You got to learn from it. This is part and parcel of this country. But I would say, as we've had a new election, we've got new leadership, we've got existing leadership, which is going to come. But I would like a consistent policy on our green energy and sustainability policy. I don't want just headline statements. I want something that is actually coming to the ground. That prevents the scale. We need scale if we want to do this. It requires that. So it's something that's been frustrating for me. I would like that to change. I would also like not everybody saying the government has to do everything. We've got to put a hand in our pockets and we've got to give. I also would like one more thing. I would like people to care about our country and our Mother Earth, not just going to conferences and not just saying that we care. Everybody has to give a little bit in to save this planet. And that's sort of, I know a few of us are doing it, but I want a lot more to join this race. And I'm hoping that people understand that your future generation, You can have a big house and you can have all this wealth, but if you don't have clean air, you don't have clean water, I think you've got a problem. And that's what frustrates me.
It's a good thought today. 2 years ago, three and 2 and 1 year ago, one of the biggest frustrations for the EV sector was that the finance industry didn't quite get our sector, and so the availability of funding for either individual entrepreneurs or companies that were in this sector was limited. Do you still see that being the case today, or are you seeing more sophistication in the finance sector? And I don't mean just the asset management sector, because they are sophisticated, they've got the right brains at it, and they know what they're doing. But for the rest of the industry, can you still go out and get a loan to buy one of OSM's vehicles? Is it a fair loan? Can you get the right insurance? Is it fair insurance? Or is there a lot of risk built into it because they still don't understand it, and so it becomes an expensive proposition?
Very, very, it's a $1 million question. It's a really important, very, very to the point. Look, financing has got much better. I don't have problems getting financing. I don't think there's a financer in this country that I'm not working with, whether it's an NBFC, or I've got PNB, I've got Indian Bank. But the problem is the rate of interest being charged. This is commercial vehicles in the cargo and in the passenger side, even for trucks. Today I was at a conference and we were talking about how trucks require financing, and financing has to be something very important. So I'll tell you what happens. The interest rate charged is in the high 20s, and you're charging that interest rate to the lowest earning strata. So how is this helping? So, the lowest strata of our the NBFCs and the banks are making huge profits. You can see from their balance sheets, you can see, I'm not going to name some of the financing companies that the OEMs are cleaning up because the interest rates are just super high. I think we need to have a look at that. We need World Bank, we need the government to have a public-private partnership. Now, the biggest problem that comes here is you go to, financial, they say there's no resale value. On an ICE vehicle, I know on a Tata Ace, I've got a resale value tomorrow. On an electric vehicle, nobody's. So in order, I've always been of that. And I'm going to make this on your podcast. I'm going to be able to do shortly a buyback on all OSM vehicles. I'm going to start that with this year on OSM. And next year, I'll build a company that buys everybody, that gives a market, an instant market for a buyback. The day you do that, financial will be ready to know what the scrappage or what the residual value of a vehicle is, and that should change. Look, as I said, to you before, Rome wasn't built in one day. We are working on it. I am committed to this. This is a personal agenda for me. And I am going to do everything. I'm going to put my last dollar at work here. And I'm hoping that will change. What I have noticed in this business, if somebody takes leadership, everybody follows. It's that guy from that javelin thrower, from Haryana. Nobody knew him. Now everybody wants to have a picture. Okay, he's a great looking guy and all you girls out there love him and whatever, with his long hair and all his muscles. But I'm going to say this. We are going to do, us old guys over here are going to find a solution and we're going to make it out there. I promise you, in the next time you see, I'm going to develop that residual value markets for EV, and I'll tell you it's going to be a game changer. And that's when I'm going to be able to help those it's not the Savasa Crore, it's the 1.4 billion people in this country. And honestly, I'm definitely not standing for election. I am just dedicated to the cause and I want to make a difference.
Uday, you are always a very interesting person to speak with, fantastic ideas. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but it's been an intense journey that you've been on in the last 3 years, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. What an amazing success you've made, OSM, and we're rooting for your big success in the future, your own IPO, the launch of your sexy rickshaw, as well as your 1-ton and 3-ton and a bigger truck. Look forward to having you back on the show in the months to come.
Thank you very much, and you're an inspiration to me. And it's not just you, your entire team at 𝐒𝐻𝐻, at 𝐶𝐬𝐭. And again, I don't want to ever say not that. I want to say thank you to all of those Nari Shakti women you've got running this company. keep inspiring me, and all of those people out there. I'm one of your biggest fan, and hopefully in 2 years you will see the IPO. You will see us do more work, and I'd love for you to. I'm definitely sending you that pink rickshaw to drive around here in your campus. Thank you so much, and thank you, your entire production team with this podcast. Keep doing a great work. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Uday.